Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Amaya Norman. A man-made smuggling tunnel has been discovered in El Paso, Texas. Federal agents from the U.S. Border Patrol and Homeland Security found the cross tunnel from Mexico on Thursday. The discovery came upon an inspection of a Mexican storm drain toll to El Paso storm drain systems. The tunnel standing about 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide with lighting and ventilations. Wood beams braces the tunnel and investigation is underway. Starting college can be a bit overwhelming. Victoria College Super Saturday helped many students feel right at home and ready to start. Ira Sanders, Victoria College Community Outreach Specialist, says whether it's getting enrolled in classes, financial aid, or anything else, Super Saturday is designed to help make the transition a smooth one. Now it's time to check in with our weather with first warm storm team meteorologist Scott Pignan. Scott, I heard that it was going to be warm kind of this week.
Yeah, Maya, we're finally done with the freezing temperatures, at least for now, but we are going to have warmer days ahead for the crossroads starting this weekend. We do have another front coming through. We'll talk about in the full forecast on Sunday, dropping temperatures a little bit, and then we also have slight rain chances along with that front as it moves through Sunday evening. Right now, temperature 44 degrees, feels like temperature 42. Those winds fairly light out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour, and that humidity at 76%. We'll take a look at the rest of your week's ends forecast coming up in the weather. Amaya, back to you.
Thank you so much, Scott. Firefighters in Los Angeles are racing to cut off rapidly spreading wildfires before strong winds return and push the flames towards the John J. Paul Getty Museum and UCLA. 5 wind-driven fires have killed at least 16 people and scorched 39,000 acres in Los Angeles area. The Palisades fire remains a major focus on its threatened highways 405 and heavily populated areas. More than 100,000 people are under evacuation orders. SAG-AFTRA has donated $1 million to fire relief efforts, while damages estimated reach $150 billion. Nearly a dozen people are believed to be dead, with the Los Angeles County Sheriff saying they expected the numbers to rise as devastating fires spread across Southern California, amid dry and windy conditions, leaving officials scrambling to contain the historic destruction.
As fires still rage in Los Angeles, evacuations are expanding. The Brentwood and Encino neighborhoods under threat as residents make their way out of the area.
It's very difficult, but we're alive. We're alive.
The National Weather Service now issuing red flag warnings through Wednesday that encompass 10 million people from much of Los Angeles and Ventura counties and south to the Mexico border. Santa Ana winds temporarily subsided today, giving firefighters on the ground a fighting chance. But that is fleeting as winds are expected to return tonight.
Fire retardant drops starting.
In the skies above the wildfires, firefighting aircraft diving again and again, dropping flame retardant chemicals and water to stem the fire threat. The Palisades fire now expanding in other directions, leaving behind more than 21,000 acres scorched. Kate and Jackie's home burned down.
I mean, first of all, this is something we never expected because of where we are. This was the safe part of the Palisades.
Now, flames are moving toward densely populated Brentwood. 11 deaths have been confirmed, 8 from Eaton Fire, 3 from Palisades, and tonight at least 13 people are missing. Law enforcement also facing challenges, arresting 27 people, saying some violated a curfew implemented last night, others taken into custody on suspicion of looting. Officials also warning business owners from taking part in price gouging.
People who have been victimized, being victimized again in contravention and in violation of the law against price gouging in California in the time of a natural disaster in a state of emergency. It's wrong.
Today, California Governor Gavin Newsom doubling the amount of National Guard deployed in Los Angeles. The city announcing the ATF would lead a task force to investigate the cause of the Palisades fire. Pressed about what could have started the Eaton fire, officials say the investigation is fluid.
We are not going to leave any rock unturned if this is a criminal act.
Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Now onto your viewer poll. What do you believe is the most effective solution for reducing wildfires? Investing in advanced firefighter technology, stricter land use regulations, improved forest management, public education campaigns, addressing climate change. And so far, that is in the lead. Earlier today, it was improved forest management, and still now improved forest management at 73%. You still have time to participate in our viewer poll. We want to hear from you. Visit our website at crossroadstoday.com/vote. A toddler was found safe after being left alone on a school bus. Let's take a look.
Tonight, 3-year-old Azia is safe and warm with her family after being left on a school bus in this snowy depot, cold, alone, and scared.
She was just saying, "Mommy, I was left on a bus. I was left on a bus."
Talia Anderson says it happened after a bus picked up her daughter around midday to go to preschool at Richton Square Elementary in Richton Park. Hours later, the school calling Talia, asking why Azia wasn't there.
I was just, was she okay? Was she alive at this point? I just needed to know.
Later, the superintendent calling back, saying Azia, who'd apparently fallen asleep on the way to preschool, was found on her bus at that depot in Country Club Hills.
I'm frustrated because how can you really leave a 3-year-old on the bus and I'm giving you to her in your care?
Madison School District 162 telling ABC7 Azia was not delivered to the school and instead was unknowingly transported back to the bus depot. The bus driver involved in this matter will no longer provide services for District 162 because safety policies and procedures were not followed.
She's just been really thirsty ever since the situation. So I just been giving her water, giving her apple juice, and trying to keep her hydrated.
A mother is grieving the loss of her son killed in the California wildfire. Carl Smith's son, Randall Mia, died in the place he loved the most, his home in Malibu. Smith said detectives found human remains in his home. He was the only person living in the home who chose not to evacuate. Smith said his home was the most prized possession and was the only house he ever owned. She said her son was determined to protect his beloved house and didn't want to abandon the home when it first started. The wildfires in Los Angeles County are to blame for at least 11 deaths. The fires destroyed at least 10,000 structures. Most of them are homes. Southern cities were brought to a halt as a winter storm dumped historic levels of snow, continuing to cause thousands of delays and hundreds of cancellations for airlines. Here are the details.
Millions of people throughout the South digging out after a massive winter storm that dumped record amounts of snow. Memphis, Tennessee recording 7.5 inches Friday, the most snow seen in the city in a single day in the last 40 years. Nashville also blanketed.
Work got canceled, my wife's work got canceled, and daycare got canceled, so full day of parents and sledding and hanging out and hot chocolate, and thankfully we live close enough to a big hill.
Some areas seeing more than a foot of snow. Arkansas measured up to 14 inches. Oklahoma saw up to a foot, and parts of Texas reaching 10 inches. The snow making for treacherous travel. Thousands of flights were canceled across the country. And at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, just moments after takeoff, an emergency on board a Delta flight bound for Minneapolis.
So there's fire coming out of the right engine?
Yes, that's what they're showing.
All right, we're going to evacuate on the runway.
Pilots aborting takeoff after reporting a fire in the engine. More than 200 passengers forced to evacuate by slide in the middle of the storm. 4 passengers suffering minor injuries, 1 taken to the hospital. The weather also leading to the NBA postponing Saturday's matchup between the Houston Rockets and Atlanta Hawks. Colder air moves in next week with temperatures plunging. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Thousands of Texans in need are abandoning the state suicide hotline mid-call every month as call centers struggled under a $7 billion funding and a growing suicide rate statewide. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website at crossroadstoday.com. For more on today's news story, come to crossroadstoday.com. Don't forget to submit your birthday wishes. Carolina Estrón and Parker Cox will read them live on 25 News Now Sunrise. You can also submit a local military hero so we can recognize them. Coming up next, the ATF is leading the investigation into the devastating Palisade fire in Los Angeles County.
We'll talk about the weather impacts in Southern California and the rest of your weekend forecast, all coming up in weather.
Special Counsel Jack Smith resigned from the Justice Department on Friday after completing his investigation into Donald Trump. One probe focused on classified documents, while the others examined Trump's actions during the January 6th Capitol riot. Attorney General Merrick Garland could soon release Smith's reports, which Trump co-defendants have tried to block. A U.S. appeal court cleared the way for its release. President Biden has awarded the country's highest civilian honor to Pope Francis. The president spoke with the Pope on Saturday and awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom with distinction. This is the first time the president has awarded the Medal of Freedom with distinction during his presidency. The award citation called the pontiff the people's pope, and he went on to say Francis is a light of faith, hope, and love that shines brightly across the world. The president is a devout Catholic. He also has met with the pontiff twice as president and was supposed to meet with him on a third time next week. The Supreme Court held a closely watched hearing Friday over whether the looming U.S. ban on TikTok should be upheld or put on hold. The Chinese government has yet to comment on the hearing, but Beijing has in the past called the case against TikTok a, quote, act of bullying and abuse of national power. Some believe Beijing has been the guiding forces behind TikTok all along, as Mark Stewart reports.
Among the questions I've been asking to the Chinese government, is it giving guidance to ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok? No clear answer at the daily press briefing. A spokesperson referred me to past statements saying the U.S. doesn't respect free markets and there isn't evidence of a national security risk. We did have a chance this week to sit down and talk about this with the U.S. ambassador to China as he prepares to leave office. Listen to part of our conversation. How much influence does Beijing have in this debate?
We make the assumption, I certainly do as ambassador here, that the Chinese government has ultimate, complete authority and access to convince a state enterprise here in China or a private company to do what they wish them to do. This is an authoritarian government in an authoritarian environment, so that is an issue.
This current chapter of the TikTok debate is happening as the incoming Trump administration prepares to take office. It was just last month the CEO of TikTok met with President-elect Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Mark Stewart, CNN, Beijing.
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive is taking the lead in determining the origins of the Palisades fire burning in Los Angeles County. According to a social media post, the agency said certified fire investigators are on the scene and are working in conjunction with state investigators. Their assistance was requested by Los Angeles fire officials. The team can determine whether power line failures, arsons, or other causes were involved in starting the blaze. The Palisades fire has so far scorched over 22,000 acres and is at least 11% contained. At least 11 deaths have been reported from all of the fires burning in Los Angeles County. Turkish-born construction executive Arden Arkins pleaded guilty Friday to making improper donations to New York Mayor Eric Adams' 2021 campaign. Arkins admitted to writing a $1,200 check to 10 employees who then donated to Adams' campaign at the direction of Turkish consulted officials. Arkins faces up to 6 months in jail and $9,000 in fines. His sentencing is set for August after Adams' trial. Experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Search Crossroads Today Plus.
We'll take a look at the temperature trends plus the chance for rain next week coming up in your forecast. And welcome back. Again, it's slightly warmer ahead, freezing temperatures, that's the good news. And it is a cool 44 degrees this evening in Victoria. Our high 50 degrees, low 39 degrees, just below our average 65, our average high 43, our average low. And we've got 1.8 inches officially so far for the year of 2025. Here are your future temperatures. These are the coldest readings I can find at 4 a.m. Sunday morning. 30s, upper 30s around the I-10 corridor, middle 40s along the I-59 corridor, and then closer to the coast, upper 40s and low 50s. For the afternoon, those temperatures mostly in the 60s with a few upper 50s right along the coastal areas. Here are the temperatures for the next several days. 35, 36, 37 for your lows Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. 60 for your high on Sunday, and then drops down to 56 with the passage of that weak front for Monday and Tuesday. For tomorrow, we have this coastal low, again, another coastal low developing, but this is going to take a path further away from the shoreline, so it's going to keep most of the rain with it, only giving us a slight chance of rain, 20% or so, with higher chances along the coast. And Wednesday, we have another system. This is a mid-level area of warm air that's going to be coming in from the Gulf on Wednesday. That's going to give us another chance, a slight chance of rain, about 20% for Wednesday. And then that's going to basically just kind of fizzle out. And then we have yet another coastal low on Friday developing, and that's going to be meeting up with a front that's going to be moving down from the north, and you can see the greater chance of rain being northeast of the crossroads, but again, another chance of rain for Friday and Saturday. Here are the current fire hazards. The Storm Prediction Center forecast fire weather for the entire United States. And for California, Southern California, they have elevated risks for fire in the yellow shaded area, critical risk in the red shaded area, and extreme in the pink shaded area. That is because the winds are going to continue to be very high. Now, they will drop off a little bit for tomorrow, but then go up again Monday through the rest of the week, and also no rain chances, unfortunately. So our thoughts are certainly with those folks in Southern California. For tomorrow, if you are headed out on the water, mid-60s, very comfortable temperature and southern winds, and then those winds switching around to the northeast with the passage of the front. Then for Port Lavaca, we do have a low water advisory for Matagorda Bay. You see your high and low tide there. South winds 5 to 10 knots with seas at 2 to 3 feet. Port Lavaca waking up to 50 degrees under cloudy skies with a slight chance of rain. Victoria 48, getting up to 61 again with a slight chance of rain. And Cuero 48, 68, and 56 for your sunset temperature in Cuero. For the rest of the crossroads, 20% chance of rain for tomorrow, the passage of that front. High temperatures dropping down, then another slight chance on Wednesday, then slight chances of rain toward the end of the week and weekend. Of course, you can download the Crossroads app today, get the latest in news, weather, and sports at your fingertips. Sign up for email alerts, and it is free. Here's Ray Robinson with sports.
Thank you, Scott. We have the fallout of the district basketball game for both Victoria schools. Coming up in sports, see how the boys did and more. Last night, we had both ladies from Victoria schools hosting district games, which both went on to win their games. But what about the boys? They were on the road, and we couldn't say the same for the East boys. Victoria East boys went on to lose against Fort Bend Kipner in Sugar Land. The Titans went into this game as favorites with a better record, but on any given night, anything can happen. The final score was 60-45. But the West boys, on the other hand, won their district game against Lamar Consolidated. The Warriors now moved their record up to 11-12. West is now fourth in their district after this win. Final score, 46-37. The boys will prepare to take on Fort Bend on Tuesday. But let's continue the love to Yoakum High School. Newly committed SMU player Xavier Barnett helped his team to victory last night after beating Columbus. It was a close game. Final score, 58-55. Big congrats to Yoakum High School. And on to the pros. At least those schools were able to take the hardwood because way down in Atlanta, the icy weather has led to the postponing of the Rockets and Hawks games that was scheduled earlier today. The Rockets are still in a close battle for the #2 seed in the Western Conference. The Memphis Grizzlies right on their heels. The Rockets with a record of 25-12, and the Grizzlies, just after beating the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are now 25-14. So this looks like it could be a tough battle for the #2 seed in the Western Conference. And these wildfires continue to affect the sports world. Next, it's in the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams look to begin their playoff run in the wild card round, taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Well, their game has now been relocated to the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The NFL announced yesterday, in the interest of public safety, Monday's Vikings-Ram wildcard game has been moved from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, to the State Farm Stadium, home of the Arizona Cardinals. And the Houston Texans begin their postseason run against the Los Angeles Chargers. Texans still hoping to make some noise without their star receiver Tank Dell. And bad luck followed the Texans on the receiving end after Michi fumbled, but thankfully the Texans were still able to take care of business and win the game. Final score, 32-12. And now that we have some video, let's talk about the Cotton Bowl, a marquee matchup between both teams in the Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Texas Longhorns. It seemed like anybody's game to start things off. The Ohio State's own Quinton Judkins scores a 9-yard touchdown on the first one of the game. But the Texans didn't worry answering back before halftime as Ewer locates Jaden Blue for a touchdown. But in games like this, errors just can't be made as Ohio State walked away with the victory. Final score, 28-14. Here's a word from Ewers and head coach Steve Sarkisian.
They made 2 big plays. You know, they hit the screen at the end of the first half and got the sack fumble on 4th down there for a touchdown. But 2 really good teams, a ton of credit to Ohio State. They're a very good football team, well-coached, hard-fought game. I'm really proud of them.
Being in the Final Four back-to-back years and coming up short 2 years, it's tough. But, you know, I think that's how life is. You're going to get punched in the face and in some hard moments.
Big congrats to the Longhorns on a great season. But that does it for your sports. Amaya?
Thank you so much, Ray. Now the NBA postponed Saturday Lakers and Clippers home game. We're going to talk about more sports coming up. Now on to some more sports. Wildfires in Los Angeles are disrupting pro sports. The NBA postponed Saturday Lakers and Clippers games to support wildfire response. Both teams will reschedule. The league and players associated are donating $1 million to disaster relief. Meanwhile, the NFL moved the Rams wild card playoff game to Glendale, Arizona.
You know, it's really good to see, you know, the NBA taking steps in response to this wildfire because, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, his family, he took a break from the team, and then J.J. Redick, he lost his house in the wildfire. So, you know, it's a very good step for the NBA. You know?
Wow. Do you know anything about sports?
That's a broad question. As it relates to weather, maybe?
Are we going to worry about, do we got any wildfire winds dealing with the crossroads?
Yes, no, there's a question I'm familiar with. I have been watching a lot of news coverage actually in Los Angeles, their weather coverage out there. And they, as I said in our broadcast here, they are expecting a little lull in the winds tomorrow. So hopefully that'll increase the containment percentages, but then those winds kick up again and they need rain, they need help desperately. So anyway, hopefully that changes for them. For us, 20% chance of rain tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, high of 60. That's going to be the warmest high we've had in the last few days. Then it's going to drop back down as that weak front moves through, back to the mid-50s for Monday and Tuesday. Then another shot at rain on Wednesday, and then again next weekend, 20% on Friday, Saturday, 40%. Look at that high on Saturday, 73.
Yes.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
All right, getting closer to spring.
Yes.
One day at a
Closer,
time.
One day at a time. And now that, I hope y'all will enjoy that warm air like I will on that Saturday. But thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back here for Sunday for 25 News Now weekends at 5:30 and 10. Have a good night.